Greetings and welcome to the basement. Continuing on with our efforts to make a simple little game, let's get our spaceship created. Now, I'm going to separate the visuals from the logic. What do I mean by this? Well, I could just simply drop in here a cube and scale out this cube to make it kind of sort of spaceship-ish. I could also use ProBuilder, which is a default package that you can bring in to rough model out something vaguely, approximately looking like a spaceship. But that would lock me into a lot of potentially bad decisions. In that if I wanted to bring in a different mesh, or if I wanted to completely redo how the visuals were working, it would be more difficult. So where possible, I like trying to separate the logic from the visuals. So how I'm going to go about doing this is I am going to use Control-Shift-N, which is the keyboard shortcut for empty game object, and create an empty game object. Which I shall call ship. Now, as a child of this object, I will create the various pieces. But before I do that, and something you have to be very careful of in Unity, by default, when you create something, that object will be created at the focal point of the editor view camera, which apparently is that coordinate right there. I don't want to be building my ship there. I want to be building my ship at the center of the world. So I am going to click on the ellipsis here, pop down this menu, and I am going to reset this component. And now my component has been reset to the center of the world. Something else to take note of is forward. Forward in Unity is the positive Z axis. And you can see here, while I am on the translate widget and making sure also that I am on global, I can see that global Z forward is this way. So I'm going to orient my editor camera using the right mouse and WASD, of course, to navigate around, to make sure that I am maintaining that perspective of the forward Z pointing in the correct position. If I was to, say, build my spaceship such that forward was along the positive X, then things aren't going to look correct. My spaceship is going to be sliding sideways all over the place, which is not what I want. So with that in mind, I'm going to create a cube as a child of the ship. So I am going to have the ship game object selected. I'm going to right-click 3D Object Cube. And I am going to scale this. So I'm going to switch to the Scale R shortcut. And that will be the body of my ship. And not that it's strictly speaking necessary, but I do tend to like to try to keep scale and position on sane numbers. So 0.5 instead of 0.482714359. Just because if it turns out that I need to link this with other game objects, having these same numbers makes it easier. Now I'm going to put in the engines. So again, right-click, Object. I'm going to use Cylinders. Switch to the Rotate tool. Now, here I am using Control Drag. That's not what I meant to do. I hit the 2 key by accident. I was using Control Drag to move that, switch back to the Translate tool, and -0.9. There you go. I think that looks, yeah, that looks pretty good. So I'll grab that, duplicate it, and mirror it over by changing the X. And if you say the starship looks familiar to you, I don't know what you're trying to imply at all. This is a totally original creation, I swear. Not that it's going to matter in this case. I am going to go through and rename my different parts. Again, from the perspective of the ship, this is going to be my left engine. And this is going to be my right engine. Like I said, functionally doesn't matter. Organizationally, you want to, as much as is practical, to have sane sounding names for your game objects. And of course, since these are all children objects, if I grab the ship game object and move it around, they all move as a unit. And by doing things this way, I have made it very easy for me to replace the visuals. All I have to do, if I want to switch to, say, a model that I found on the Unity Asset Store, I can just either delete or disable these game objects here and toss in the model that I want to use. The visuals are separated from the logic because the logic I'm going to put here on the top level game object. Now, before I do that, I am going to take a moment to adjust my camera. So if I look at the game view here, this is the default view that I get from the camera, but that's not going to work very well because I'm going to have like asteroids scattered, and I want the ship to be able to move forward and dodge through the asteroids and reach some point over here. Now, I could grab the camera and manipulate the position and the rotation like this. What I prefer to do is use the editor camera to get kind of sort of approximately what the view is that I want to see. So that looks roughly what I want to see in game. Then I'm going to select the camera. And a very useful shortcut to know is align with view. It will take the currently selected game object in the hierarchy and align it to the editor camera's position and rotation. So you can see now my scene view and my game view match. Now this is not flawless. I've got some additional Y and Z rotation that I do not want, which I shall correct. And like I said, I like to try to keep the numbers even as much as is reasonable. But sometimes you just got to accept a little bit. Oh, nope, that's pretty close to 47 actually, so we'll just do 47. There we go. So sometimes you have to accept a little bit of jank, like the position values. Maybe 0.25. Actually, the x value should be 0. I don't want there to be any offset on the x. A y of 16 and a z. Negative 6.5. There we go. It doesn't really matter, to be quite honest. Well, that x mattered. I didn't want things off-centered. Again, I just like trying to keep the numbers as neat as possible, because the longer I can delay these numbers going off the rails, the easier my life is going to be in the long run. All right, so that takes care of my camera, so my game view looks pretty good. Something else that I like to do is I like to work in a specific aspect ratio or just flat out in a specific resolution. Which you can see here, we got full HD, 1920 by 1080. I have also a custom resolution added in. This is a holdover from previous Unity installs where we did not have these values by default ready to go for us. So either working in a 16:9 aspect ratio or just telling it, yeah, I want a 1920 by 1080 screen, that's going to work out pretty good in your favor. It's also a good idea just to visually check sometimes. And yeah, that ship's a little bit on the large side all the way down there. Let's take a look at my scene. Let's look at the main camera. So I'm going to pull this camera back. Now currently my widget is in global mode, so I am using the absolute direction of the world here. I'm going to change it to local mode. So now my directions are relative to the orientation of the camera, so it's a lot easier just to pull it back. See how that looks roughly in full screen? That is better. Now, I could have also adjusted the scale of the ship as well, but I'm going to do this with camera placement. And then I am probably, see here, no, I don't. Actually, I probably want a steeper angle like that, which means I will now switch back to global and move the camera forward. Hit the run button again just to visually check. And there we go. The exact numbers, don't sweat about the exact numbers here. Don't try to make your numbers match mine. The key here is getting that feeling for this is the camera angle that I want, either by manipulating the rotation through the inspector or by using the widget to manipulate the rotation. And then getting the position right. So that way when you look at it in the game window, it's the look that you want. But also, don't spend too much time on this for this particular project. Get it looking the way you want, but don't stress out over it too much. Just get a position, lock it into place, and to move on. All right, so we have a bunch of visual stuff taken care of. Let's move on to functional stuff. Although before I do that, I am going to hit Control-S to save the scene. Unity is a complex piece of software. It will crash on you at some point, so you had best save your work periodically or you risk losing it. Now, as I've mentioned in the prior video, we are going to be using Bolt to do visual scripting. So what I'm going to do to make something use Bolt is I'm going to go to Add Component. And of course, you won't have the word flow already typed into your search bar. Instead, you will see most likely something like this, or if you have done search terms before, you'll have a search term in there. But the easiest way to add in a component is to know the name of the component, type in some of that name, and then select it. You could also find this by, well, surprisingly, going to the Bolt menu, and there we go, there's a flow machine. So I am going to add in a flow machine. Now, if this was going to be a more complex project, I would probably want to do a macro where the flow graph is stored as an asset. But to keep things a little bit simpler, I am going to create this as an embedded flow machine, meaning this flow graph will only exist on this game object. And I shall call this movement control. Clicking on Edit Graph will bring up the graph window. Now, on my computer, it automatically brought it up on my second monitor, and it's full screen. This is my preferred work method when I'm dealing with flow graphs. I'll have this window off on my second monitor. It'll be in full screen mode, so that way I've got this much real estate to work with when dealing with the graphs. However, that's not particularly practical when it comes to a recorded video demonstration, so I am going to dock my flow graph. Notice something that happened. I lost that sidebar. Undocked, full screen, sidebar of variables. Not full screen, no sidebar of variables. This is important because you really need access to those variables in order to work with Bolt. So I am going to go into Window here, and I am going to open up the Variables window, and I'm going to dock it over here with my hierarchy. I am going to need the ability to create graph variables at the minimum to be able to use Bolt. So I'm going to want to have this window open here. And now we are all ready to begin working with Bolt. We have our scene set up, we have our camera set up, we have our game object with all the visual stuff separated out. So we are good to go for logic. But again, this video is starting to get a bit long. So to keep this nice and broken up, the logic will be handled in the next video. And as always, if you have found this video useful, a thumbs up would be appreciated. If it has, however, annoyed you, the thumbs down button is right next to it. Until next time.